First contact crisis. The emergency alert pierced through all 8 of Commander Vexera's auditory membranes, making her secondary respiratory sacs contract painfully. The shrill tone signified a Level 1 threat, something that hadn't occurred in over 3 centuries of Galactic Council peacekeeping operations. "Report," she demanded, sweeping into the command center of Outpost Thidis 9. Her silver-blue scales rippled with agitation as her subordinates scrambled to their stations. "Unknown vessel detected entering Council space at coordinates 37 to 9214, announced Senior Sensor Operator Pelix, his 4 eyes never leaving the holographic display. "Size and configuration match no known species in our databases. Energy readings are extraordinary." The main view screen activated, revealing a massive starship drifting through the darkness. Unlike the elegant, crystalline designs of Council vessels, this ship was brutal and utilitarian. A dark metal leviathan bristling with what could only be weapon emplacements. The vessel's hull bore scorch marks and gaping wounds that vented atmosphere into the void. "By the ancestral light," whispered Vexera, "what manner of warmonger would build such a monstrosity?" "Commander," called Communications Officer Jixa, her voice trembling. "We're detecting life forms aboard. Thousands of them. Biological signatures are consistent with carbon-based oxygen brothers, but the specifics don't match any Council species." Vexera's dorsal spines straightened with alarm. "Have they responded to standard greeting protocols?" "No response on any frequency, Commander. We've tried all established communication channels." The vessel continued its slow drift through Council space, trailing debris and leaking radiation from what appeared to be a damaged propulsion system. Despite its wounded state, the warship radiated danger. "Deploy the defense fleet," Vexera ordered. "Full containment pattern. I want that vessel surrounded but maintain safe distance. No aggressive posturing. Yet." Within minutes, 30 Council vessels emerged from the nearby space dock, their crystalline hulls gleaming in the light of the system's twin suns. They moved with practiced precision, forming a 3-dimensional grid around the intruder ship. "Still no response to communications," reported Jixa. "Wait, I'm detecting energy fluctuations from their vessel. They might be trying to power up weapon systems." Vexera felt her heart accelerate. After centuries of peace, was she about to witness the beginning of an interstellar war? "Hold positions," she commanded. "Continue transmission of peaceful intent on all frequencies." The minutes stretched into an agonizing hour as the standoff continued. The alien vessel made no aggressive moves, but neither did it communicate or power down its systems. Vexera found herself studying the strange ship, noting the efficiency of its design despite its brutalist appearance. Whoever had built it understood the harsh realities of space combat. "Commander," Pelix suddenly called out, "I'm detecting a small craft launching from the alien vessel." The view screen zoomed in to show a sleek shuttle detaching from the larger ship's wounded flank. Unlike its mothership, the shuttle appeared undamaged and maneuvered with surprising grace. "They're broadcasting something," Jixa said excitedly. It's a mathematical sequence. Prime numbers, followed by basic universal constants. "The universal language," Vexera murmured. "They're intelligent enough to know how to establish first contact." "Shuttle is requesting permission to dock with our station," Jixa continued. "The message is crude but understandable. They're requesting medical assistance and repairs." Vexera contemplated the request, her training battling with instinct. Council protocols were clear. Unknown species were to be quarantined until their intentions could be verified. Yet the damage to their vessel suggested they were refugees, not invaders. "Permission granted," she decided. "Security teams to Docking Bay 3. Full biohazard protocols and translator matrices active." The alien shuttle approached smoothly, docking with Thidis 9 with surprising compatibility. The station's artificial intelligence had to make only minor adjustments to accommodate the foreign technology. Vexera positioned herself at the head of the welcome committee, flanked by security officers and xenobiologists. The airlock cycled, and for the first time, Representatives of humanity stood face to face with the Galactic Council. They were bipedal, with 2 arms and a single head, not dissimilar to several council species. Their skin varied in color from pale cream to deep brown, and they wore gray uniforms adorned with strange insignia. What struck Vexera most was their eyes, alert, intelligent, and filled with a determination she rarely saw even among veteran council officers. One stepped forward, taller than the others, with dark skin and closely cropped white hair. Despite the alien's strange appearance, Vexera could recognize authority when she saw it. "I am Captain Elena Morgan of the United Earth ship Intrepid," the alien spoke, a small device at its throat translating its words into Galactic Standard. "We come seeking sanctuary and assistance. I am Commander Vexera of the Galactic Council Defense Force," she replied. "Your presence here is unexpected, and your worship causes us great concern." The human captain's face contorted in what might have been confusion. "Warship? The Intrepid is a colony vessel, Commander. We carry families, scientists, engineers, civilians seeking a new home." Now it was Vexera's turn for confusion. "Your vessel is heavily armed." "A necessity where we come from," Captain Morgan responded, her expression darkening. "Our colony world, New Terra, was attacked 3 cycles ago by entities we've never encountered before. The Intrepid was the only ship able to evacuate survivors. These attackers, can you describe them?" Morgan nodded gravely and handed over a data crystal. "This contains all our sensor readings and recordings from the attack. We call them the Void Harvesters. They appeared without warning, destroyed our orbital defenses, and began consuming our world." Vexera inserted the crystal into her datapad and froze as the images appeared. A massive black vessel, shaped like nothing she had ever seen, tearing apart planetary structures with energy beams that seemed to fold space itself. "This technology," she whispered, "it's beyond anything in Council records. They've been pursuing us across 17 star systems." Morgan continued. "We've lost contact with Earth and 3 other colony worlds. The Intrepid sustained heavy damage in our last encounter. We need repairs, supplies, and if possible, sanctuary for our people." "Your weapon systems are still active," Vexera noted, watching the human's reaction carefully. "Automated defense only," Morgan replied without hesitation. "We can't afford to power them down completely, not with the harvesters on our trail." Vexera's blood ran cold. "You led them here. We tried to lose them in the radiation belt of a neutron star. We thought we had succeeded, but—" Morgan's voice trailed off. "Commander, if they find us, they'll find you too. And from what we've seen of your technology, you're no more prepared to face them than we were." In that moment, Vexera made a decision that would alter the course of galactic history. "Captain Morgan, I'll arrange for medical teams to treat your wounded and engineering crews to assist with critical repairs. In the meantime, I need all the information you have on these harvesters." The human's posture relaxed slightly. "Thank you, Commander. I promise you won't regret this." "I hope not," Vexera replied. "Because if these harvesters are as dangerous as you claim, we'll need to work together to have any chance of survival." As if in answer to her words, the station's alarms suddenly blared to life. "Commander," Pelix's voice came through her communicator, panic evident even through the electronic medium. "Long-range sensors have detected multiple signatures approaching at superluminal velocity. Energy patterns match those from the human's data crystal." Captain Morgan's eyes met Vexera's, and the commander saw something there she understood perfectly despite their alien nature. Determination mingled with fear. "They found us," Morgan said simply. "Alliance forged in fire." The Void Harvester vessels emerged from subspace like nightmares made manifest. Vast constructs of impossible geometry that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. There were 7 of them, each larger than the largest Council battleship, moving with a fluid grace that belied their massive size. "All stations to battle readiness," Vexera ordered, her voice calm despite the fear gripping her hearts. Begin evacuation protocols for civilian personnel. On the command deck of Thetis 9, organized chaos reigned as officers rushed to their stations. The main view screen displayed the approaching harvesters, their black hulls seeming to bend reality around them. Council fleet in defensive formation, reported Tactical Officer Zenrox. 32 vessels ready with weapons charged. Captain Morgan stood beside Vexera, her alien features set in grim determination. Commander, request permission to return to the Intrepid. My ship can still fight. Vexera's lateral spines flared with surprise. Your vessel is critically damaged. Your people would be safer remaining on the station. Safety isn't an option anymore, Morgan replied. Not for any of us. The Intrepid's weapons systems are still operational, and we have experience fighting these monsters. After a moment's hesitation, Vexera nodded. Permission granted, but we'll coordinate our attack. The Council fleet has never faced an enemy like this. Neither had we, Morgan said softly, until 3 cycles ago. As the human captain departed for her shuttle, Vexera turned to her communications officer. Open a channel to all vessels. They need to know what we're facing. The first attack came with devastating swiftness. One of the harvester vessels disgorged thousands of smaller craft, each no larger than a shuttle, but blazing with the same reality-warping energy as their mothership. They swarmed toward the Council fleet like predatory insects. Evasive maneuvers. Vexera commanded. Target those smaller craft with point defense systems. The Council ships responded admirably, their crystalline hulls glinting as they adjusted positions. Energy beams lanced out, striking the first wave of harvester drones. But for every drone destroyed, 3 more took its place. Vessels 4 and 7 reporting hull breaches. Jixa called out, her voice tight with stress. Harvester weapons are bypassing our shields somehow. Vexera watched in horror as 2 Council ships erupted into crystalline fragments, their crews lost in an instant. The remaining fleet vessels continued firing, but their weapons seemed to have minimal effect on the larger harvester ships. Where is the Intrepid? She demanded. As if in answer, the human vessel surged forward from behind the station, its damaged hull still venting atmosphere in places, but its weapon systems glowing with power. Unlike the elegant energy beams of Council weapons, the Intrepid fired what appeared to be solid projectiles, missiles that corkscrewed through space toward the nearest harvester vessel. What are they doing? Zenrox asked incredulously. Physical weapons are useless against energy shields. But to everyone's shock, the human missiles passed through the harvester's defenses as if they weren't there. They impacted against the black hull, detonating in blossoms of blue-white energy that tore chunks from the seemingly invulnerable vessel. How? Vexera breathed. The station's communication system crackled to life with Captain Morgan's voice. Phase-shifted kinetic weapons, Commander. Their shields are calibrated for energy attacks, not physical ones. Understanding dawned. All vessels, adjust attack pattern. Vexera commanded. Concentrate fire on the damaged harvester ship. The Council fleet responded immediately, their energy beams converging on the wound in the harvester's hull that the human weapons had created. The combined assault finally penetrated the alien vessel's defenses, causing secondary explosions to ripple across its surface. For the first time since the battle began, Vexera felt a flicker of hope. It's working. Continue the assault. But the harvesters adapted quickly. The remaining vessels shifted formation, their strange geometries realigning to create a unified defense. A pulse of dark energy expanded outward, washing over the battlefield, and temporarily disabling several Council ships. The Intrepid is moving again, Pelix reported, his voice tinged with awe. They're heading directly toward the largest harvester vessel. Vexera watched in disbelief as the human ship, still trailing debris from its wounds, accelerated toward what had to be the harvester command vessel. The Intrepid fired another volley of missiles, creating a momentary breach in the enemy's defenses. They're going to ram it, she realized aloud. They're sacrificing themselves to give us a chance. Incoming transmission from the Intrepid, Jigsaw announced. Captain Morgan's face appeared on screen, her bridge behind her filled with smoke and emergency lighting. Commander Vexera, we're going to open a wound in their flagship. When we do, hit it with everything you've got. Captain, your people will survive on your station if this works. Morgan cut her off. This is our fight too. Before Vexera could respond, the transmission ended. The Intrepid surged forward, its engines burning with what had to be dangerous overload levels. The harvester vessel seemed to sense the threat, its weapons converging on the approaching human ship. The Intrepid's hull began to disintegrate under the assault, but it maintained its collision course. At the last possible moment, something unexpected happened. The human ship discharged what appeared to be its reactor core, launching it ahead into the harvester vessel while the Intrepid itself veered away. The resulting explosion tore a massive hole in the harvester flagship, exposing its inner structure. Now, Vexera shouted, all vessels, concentrate fire on that breach. The combined firepower of the remaining Council fleet lanced into the wound, penetrating to the harvester's core systems. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the massive alien vessel began to collapse in on itself, its impossible geometry folding and twisting until it imploded in a silent flash of dark energy. The effect on the remaining harvesters was immediate and unexpected. They seemed to lose cohesion, their attack patterns becoming erratic. The swarm of smaller craft began to dissolve, some deactivating entirely. They're connected somehow, Vexera realized. The flagship was controlling them. Taking advantage of the enemy's confusion, the Council fleet pressed its attack. One by one, the remaining harvester vessels were isolated and destroyed, unable to coordinate their defenses without their command ship. Hours later, as damage reports flooded in and medical teams treated the wounded, Vexera found herself in the station's observation lounge, staring out at the debris field that had once been a fearsome enemy fleet. Beside her stood Captain Morgan, her uniform torn and her face bandaged, but her eyes clear. Your vessel? Vexera asked quietly. Salvageable, Morgan replied. Barely. We lost 27 crew members in the battle. The Council lost 5 ships and hundreds of personnel, Vexera said. But without your intervention, we would have lost everything. The human nodded silently, her gaze fixed on the distant stars. You knew their weakness, Vexera continued. You'd fought them before and survived. That's unprecedented. Morgan turned to face her, a small smile touching her lips. Humans are good at surviving, Commander. It's what we do best. The Council will want to establish formal relations with your people, Vexera said. This threat may be temporarily defeated, but if these harvesters have found other human worlds, then they'll find their way here eventually, Morgan finished. We need each other, Commander. Your people have resources and numbers. Mine have experience and technology the harvesters haven't adapted to yet. Vexera extended a 4-fingered hand in what her briefing had told her was a human gesture of agreement. Then let us hope this is the beginning of a productive alliance, Captain Morgan. The human clasped her hand firmly. Call me Elena. As they stood there, a human and a Ceteran united by battle and mutual respect, Vexera couldn't help but wonder at the strange paths fate took. The arrival of a damaged alien warship had seemed like a threat to galactic peace. Instead, it had become their salvation. The Council has existed for 10,000 cycles, she said finally. In all that time, we've encountered hundreds of species, but never one quite like humans. Elena's expression was equal parts pride and weariness. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I'm not certain yet, Vexera admitted, but I suspect we're about to find out. Beyond the station viewport, engineers from both species were already working together to repair the Intrepid, their different physiologies and technologies merging in purpose if not in form. It was, Vexera thought, perhaps the most beautiful thing she had seen in her long career. The beginning of something new and potentially wonderful. An alliance forged in fire, tempered by shared sacrifice, and now pointed toward a future that suddenly seemed brighter despite the darkness that had threatened to engulf them all.